I think that's something we really want for him, is something that he really deserves, because he deserves to be remembered as the beautiful man that he was and he still is. And
one makeup artist was quoted as saying that when he tried to make small talk with Ellen, she supposedly said, "Who do you think you are? Don't look at me."
Ellen DeGeneres has always been a name synonymous with laughter, kindness, and dancing her way into the hearts of millions. But behind the gleaming smile and the sunny disposition, there's a growing buzz about her life off camera, a buzz that's recently exploded into full-blown speculation. And at the center of it all, a mysterious move to England, her long-running connection with Diddy Combs, and whispers of a voicemail that allegedly ties her to secrets about Twitch's untimely departure. If you thought Ellen's biggest controversy was the toxic workplace allegations on her show, buckle up, because this new chapter is like something straight out of a Hollywood thriller.
I've learned the preciousness of life.
Let's start with the bombshell move that has everyone scratching their heads. Ellen and her wife, Portia de Rossi, have reportedly packed their bags and made a quiet exit from the United States, setting their sights on rural England. Now, on the surface, this might just seem like a couple looking for a change of pace after decades in the spotlight. But the timing, it's a little too coincidental for some to ignore. After all, Ellen's public image has taken hit after hit in recent years, starting with allegations of a less than kind backstage environment at her talk show, leading to her show's eventual cancellation. And just as the dust began to settle, her close friend and former executive producer, tWitch, was found gone under circumstances that remain murky at best. So why now? Why leave the country when the rumors are hotter than ever?
Does he have a shot? I think his attorneys raised some good arguments.
I think they raise good arguments as well. Maybe this will be third time's the charm, because the difference between this bail motion and the prior two is that this one really does get to the heart of what the court was concerned about, which was witness intimidation.
For those familiar with Ellen's rise to fame, it's no secret that her talk show once ruled daytime television. She was the queen of wholesome celebrity interviews, surprise giveaways, and viral moments that kept the audience hooked. A single appearance on the Ellen DeGeneres show could give a celebrity's career a major boost, whether it was a redemption tour for someone like Taylor Swift or a promotional pit stop for the latest blockbuster. Ellen had the power to make or break reputations, and she wielded it with an effortless charm that made her appear untouchable. But with great power comes great scrutiny, and as cracks began to form in her carefully curated image, they quickly widened into something far more sinister.
This morning,
Ellen's alleged bad behavior had been whispered about in the industry for years.
Now, here's where things get really interesting. Over the years, Ellen has had no shortage of celebrity guests, but one name that frequently came up was none other than Diddy Combs. The music mogul, known for his flashy lifestyle and larger-than-life personality, appeared on Ellen's show a staggering 27 times. That's right, 27. And while their on-screen chemistry appeared friendly and harmless, hindsight has people raising eyebrows about their interactions. Diddy's name has been tied to some of the wildest rumors in Hollywood, and his infamous parties, let's call them after-hours events, have become the stuff of urban legend. These gatherings were said to be exclusive, intense, and anything but ordinary. Guests who attended reportedly signed non-disclosure agreements, making it nearly impossible to confirm what really went on. But as more stories about these events have leaked over the years, they've painted a picture of excess and secrecy that's straight out of a tabloid fever dream.
So tell me about your birthday party. Am I invited?
Yes. Yes, you're definitely invited. I invite you to all my parties. You just haven't seemed to show up.
No, well, is it on the East Coast?
One of the most talked about moments between Ellen and Diddy happened back in 2009. During one of his appearances, Ellen playfully brought up the fact that she'd never attended one of his legendary birthday parties. Diddy, ever the charmer, replied that he always invited her, but she just never came. Ellen, in her usual quick-witted fashion, joked that the reason she never attended was that his parties were always on the East Coast, far from her busy life in Los Angeles. But then, things took an awkward turn when Diddy suggested having a party at Ellen's house instead. The exchange seemed lighthearted at the time, but looking back, some fans believe there was an unspoken tension in the room. Was Ellen genuinely too busy to attend, or was she deliberately avoiding getting involved in something she knew was bigger than just a dance party?
Yes.
Well, that's why. Why don't you have one here on the West Coast? Because I work all the time.
Okay, well, maybe I have one at your house.
Where's that?
And then there's the timing of it all. Around the same period, Diddy was making headlines for hosting controversial guests and events at his sprawling mansions. One particularly eyebrow-raising moment came when he allowed Chris Brown to stay at his home shortly after the infamous incident with Rihanna. When Ellen asked him about it on her show, Diddy defended his decision by saying, "It's my house. I'm allowed to give my house to whoever I want." He went on to explain that he doesn't judge his friends and believes in offering support whenever it's needed. On the surface, it was a diplomatic response, but it also raised questions about the kinds of people and activities Diddy was willing to associate himself with, and whether Ellen, by extension, was okay with turning a blind eye.
But I think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like, what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
Fast forward a few years, and Ellen's talk show introduced viewers to a new fan favorite, Twitch. The charismatic dancer and DJ became an integral part of the show, winning over the audience with his infectious energy and undeniable talent. Over time, he evolved from being just a guest DJ to a recurring co-host and eventually a co-executive producer. Twitch wasn't just a colleague, he was Ellen's right-hand man. Their chemistry on screen was electric, and their friendship seemed genuine. But as Twitch's role on the show grew, so did the pressure. Behind the scenes, insiders claim that the environment on set was far from the feel-good atmosphere Ellen projected to her audience. Staff members allegedly dealt with toxic behavior, favoritism, and manipulation. While Ellen faced public backlash for these allegations, Twitch reportedly bore the brunt of the stress, often acting as a buffer between Ellen and the rest of the crew.
Yeah. So I almost selfishly held on to it for myself. And then my gut reaction, I just started reading it over and over and over again. I was reading the title.
When Twitch was suddenly gone in late 2022, the world was left in shock. Official reports painted a tragic picture, but the lack of clear answers only fueled speculation. And this is where the story takes a darker turn. Shortly after Twitch's passing, whispers began circulating that he might have been privy to secrets that could have destroyed Ellen's career. Some believe he knew more about the behind-the-scenes drama at her show than he ever let on. Others think he may have stumbled onto something far more explosive, something linked to Ellen's alleged connections to Diddy's infamous gatherings. Adding fuel to the fire was a rumor about a leaked voicemail allegedly left by Ellen herself. While the exact content of the message remains a mystery, sources close to the situation claim it hints at Twitch being exposed to things he wasn't supposed to see. The voicemail, if it exists, could be the smoking gun that ties Ellen to a world she spent years carefully avoiding in public. And then, there's the sudden move to England. Was it a simple lifestyle change, or was it a strategic retreat to distance herself from the growing storm of accusations and rumors?
Yeah, that's trying a criminal case in the modern times. A lot of evidence is on electronic devices, cell phone, tablets, computers, things of that nature. And the devices, especially if you have like external hard drives, 90-something terabytes of data on a single device makes me think it's some type of hard drive. That takes weeks to go through just for one device on its own.
What makes this story even more compelling is how quickly the narrative has shifted. For years, Ellen was untouchable, a beacon of positivity in a world that often feels overwhelmingly negative. But as more details emerge about her personal and professional life, that image has started to crumble. And with Twitch's demise still shrouded in mystery, fans and critics alike are left wondering how much of Ellen's squeaky clean persona was real and how much was carefully crafted to hide something far more complicated. And that brings us back to Diddy. His connection to Ellen, Twitch, and the wider Hollywood elite is undeniable. But the real question is, how deep does it go? Are these just coincidences, or are we looking at the tip of a much larger iceberg? As more information comes to light, one thing is clear: this story is far from over. And here's where it all starts to unravel. The whispers about Ellen's connection to Diddy's infamous parties, the rumored voicemail about Twitch, and her sudden relocation to England. It's all beginning to look less like coincidence and more like the pieces of a much larger puzzle. But to fully understand why this is raising so many questions, we need to take a closer look at the man at the center of these gatherings, Sean Diddy Combs. His reputation has been surrounded by opulence and excess for decades. But over the years, those stories about his exclusive events, let's call them his private gatherings, have taken on a much darker tone. And it's not just the parties themselves, it's the people who attended, the secrets they kept, and the consequences for those who may have known too much.
It's pretty interesting because I think, we have seen many photos, videos of Sean Combs, aka Diddy, through the Associated Press, through Instagram. And so to see him kind of in person after being in jail for 3 weeks now was pretty interesting, to say the least. And I say that by being that you would expect him to feel a little defeated, a little gaunt, anything like that. But it wasn't that case. He appeared confident. He stood tall. But
for years, Hollywood has been buzzing about Diddy's gatherings. These weren't your average celebrity get-togethers with polite conversation. No, these were said to be over-the-top, extravagant affairs that pushed every boundary imaginable. Attendees were reportedly handpicked, and the guest list often read like a who's who of the entertainment industry. But here's the catch. These events were shrouded in secrecy. Guests were asked to sign agreements ensuring that whatever happened behind closed doors stayed there. And while many celebrities have remained tight-lipped about what they witnessed, a few have dropped hints here and there that paint a picture of utter chaos. Take, for example, a comment made by 50 Cent years ago. He joked about Diddy's gatherings in a way that made it clear he wasn't a fan of what went on. "That's why I don't go to those parties," he said. "It's just not my scene." Similarly, Uncle Luke, another well-known figure in the music world, admitted that he left one of Diddy's events early because he didn't want to stick around to see what happened after hours. These remarks, while vague, have fueled endless speculation about what these gatherings were really like. And now, with Diddy facing serious legal troubles, people are revisiting those old interviews and wondering if the rumors were closer to the truth than anyone realized.
Look, I'm not going to talk about anything that I haven't said in court or in the papers. These are all great questions, but I'm just not going to get into it. So,
can you speak about your concerns about the leak and the video? You have spoken about that before.
I did it in the court papers, and I'm just going to stick to the court papers. As you guys all know, let me just finish. As you all know, I made a request today for what we were calling a gag order, and I'm not going to walk out of court and do anything other than...
So where does Ellen fit into all of this? Well, as it turns out, her name has been quietly linked to these gatherings for years. While there's no concrete evidence that she ever attended one, her close friendship with Diddy has raised eyebrows. Over the course of her talk show's run, Ellen and Diddy shared the stage multiple times, often joking about his parties but never addressing the rumors directly. In one particularly memorable exchange, Ellen teased Diddy about throwing a gathering at her house. "I'd love to host one," she joked, "but I'm not sure I'd be able to keep up." At the time, it was all laughs and banter, but looking back, some fans are asking, was there more to that conversation than met the eye? And then there's the matter of Twitch. As Ellen's right-hand man, he was privy to much of what went on behind the scenes of her show. He wasn't just a DJ or a sidekick. He was part of the inner circle. If Ellen had any connection to Diddy's gatherings, it's not hard to imagine that Twitch might have known about it. In fact, some have speculated that he may have even been invited to one of these events himself. While there's no proof of this, the idea has taken hold in the court of public opinion, fueled by a combination of circumstantial evidence and gut feelings. After all, Twitch was a rising star in his own right, with a charisma and talent that made him a natural fit for Hollywood's elite. If anyone could have been drawn into that world, it was him.
And I remember, I don't know if you know what his voice sounds like, but I felt like I was in the presence of his monster inside.
But here's where things get even murkier. According to some sources, Twitch wasn't just an observer. He may have witnessed something that deeply unsettled him. What that something is anyone's guess, but the rumors range from witnessing inappropriate behavior to overhearing conversations that weren't meant for his ears. Whatever it was, those close to Twitch have hinted that he carried a heavy burden in the months leading up to his passing. His wife, Allison Holker, has spoken openly about how shocked she was to discover the extent of his struggles. "He hid so much from me," she said in an interview. "There were things I found after he was gone that I had no idea about." Adding another twist to the story, some insiders have suggested that Twitch's involvement with Diddy's world may not have been purely voluntary. A source close to the Hollywood scene claimed that Twitch may have been coerced into attending one of Diddy's gatherings by industry insiders who wanted to initiate him into a more exclusive circle of connections. While this claim is impossible to verify, it has sparked widespread speculation that Twitch's rising star status might have put him on the radar of individuals who saw him as a useful asset. The idea that he could have been pressured into situations he wasn't comfortable with has only deepened the mystery surrounding his final months.
Do you believe Diddy is a dangerous person?
Yes, I do.
Why?
And then there's the question of who else might have been there. Rumors have circulated that several of Ellen's high-profile guests over the years were also regulars at Diddy's gatherings, creating a tangled web of connections that's almost impossible to unravel. Could Twitch have seen something that implicated not just Diddy, but others in Ellen's circle? If so, it would explain why he might have felt unable to share what he knew. After all, Hollywood is a place where loyalty can be both a currency and a trap, a delicate balance that, when upset, can have devastating consequences. One of those discoveries was a journal filled with Twitch's private thoughts. In it, he reportedly wrote about feeling trapped and overwhelmed, though he didn't go into specifics about what was causing those feelings. Holker also found items in their home that suggested Twitch had been self-medicating to cope with his emotions, something she said he never shared with her. It was heartbreaking, she said. "I wish he'd felt like he could talk to me." While these revelations don't directly connect Twitch to Diddy or Ellen's alleged secrets, they'd added fuel to the fire of speculation. What was he hiding, and why did he feel like he couldn't share it with the people closest to him?
That clearly there is a criminal investigation underway and that they believe that there would be evidence of crimes in one or both of these homes.
And then there's the rumored voicemail. According to unverified reports, Ellen left a message for Twitch shortly before his passing that some believe could hold the key to understanding what really happened. While the contents of the voicemail remain a mystery, sources close to the situation claim it was cryptic and alluded to Twitch being involved in something he couldn't talk about. If this voicemail exists, and that's a big if, it could provide crucial insight into the pressures Twitch was under in his final days. But until it surfaces, all we have are questions. Adding to the intrigue is the fact that Ellen has yet to publicly address the rumors about Diddy's gatherings or her alleged connection to them. While she's been quick to shut down other controversies in the past, her silence on this matter has only fueled speculation. And now, with her sudden move to England, some are wondering if she's trying to distance herself from the growing storm. Is this just a coincidence, or is there something more strategic at play? Ellen's team has insisted that the movie is purely personal, but given the timing, it's hard not to read between the lines.
Replete with very, very serious and salacious allegations, including allegations that Combs had cameras throughout his homes where he videotaped.
Meanwhile, Diddy's legal troubles have thrown a spotlight on everyone who's ever been associated with him. His reputation, once untouchable, is now under intense scrutiny, and the fallout has been swift. Several former friends and collaborators have distanced themselves from him, and even those who stayed silent are feeling the heat. For Ellen, the stakes are especially high. Her brand has already taken significant hits in recent years, and any further association with Diddy's controversies could be the final nail in the coffin. But here's the thing, Hollywood is a place where secrets rarely stay buried for long. As more people come forward with stories about Diddy's gatherings and the culture of excess that surrounded them, the truth is bound to come out. And when it does, it could have far-reaching consequences. Not just for Diddy, but for everyone connected to him, including Ellen. For now, all we can do is wait and watch as this story continues to unfold.
Most importantly and most notably, when he walked inside the courtroom, the first thing that he looked at was his family. As soon as he saw his family, he just lit up. Another thing to note, too, is he wasn't shackled, but he was wearing a khaki prison-like jumpsuit when he appeared inside court, and his family appeared on their end very just happy to see him. Now, I will...
So, where does this leave us? At the end of the day, there are more questions than answers. What did Twitch know, and why did he feel like he couldn't talk about it? Was Ellen more involved in Diddy's world than she's letting on, or is she just an innocent bystander caught in the crossfire? And perhaps most importantly, will we ever know the full truth about what really happened behind the scenes of one of Hollywood's most tightly controlled images? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. This story is far from over. The pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together, and the picture they're forming is more shocking than anyone could have imagined. Stay tuned, because this is one Hollywood drama that's only just getting started. As the curtain falls on this chapter of Ellen's story, viewers are left with a whirlwind of questions and speculations. What do you think is the real reason behind Ellen's move to England? And could there be any truth to the rumors about her connection to Diddy's infamous gatherings? The comment section is open, and the floor is yours to share your thoughts and theories. Don't hold back. Let the discussion begin. Until next time, stay curious and keep the conversation going. Goodbye for now.